What is this? Dear James, this is clearly hate mail. We love you so much. I mean, hate you that we still bring up your distances in your videos and pass around Google Earth photos of your home shooting range on Facebook, going on for over a year now, trying to convince people, even though we know the truth, if we actually looked up your property line ourselves from the road to the sawhorses in your backyard past your neighbor's last fence post, because that's the only thing we came up with other than you actually being a really, really good shooter, because we tend to overlook your using multiple camera angles showing you and scope cam footage synced. And did what you claim, verified by Google Earth measurements, rangefinders, and tape measures in your videos. We will always use the competition excuse, even though a lot of us don't even compete. Some of your online friends are Pinterest and field target champion shooters, yet we just sit back and watch your videos and mock you in comment sections because we can't shoot like that, or mostly due to we can't shoot all the time, or have to go somewhere to shoot and not our own backyard like you. Plus, there's no way you incorporated calculations into your designs, barrel band or baffle set, which is quieter than the Donnie FL moderators, and only inside the shroud with no further length or holes added. That's why we tried to copy it, but we can't because it's still too loud and air blowing through even with an air stripper. Oh, and another thing is, slugs have to be shot at high velocities because so-and-so said so for them to be stable, even though we've never actually tested ourselves. Just seen YouTube videos, so we're experts in ballistics now. Your biggest fans. I mean, haters. Well, everybody, unfortunately, everything I said there is 100% accurate. I guess they say, if you're not being talked about, then you're not popular, right? And it is true. I upload videos just about every day on Facebook. I shoot about every day. And, of course, people don't like it. It is what it is. But here's the thing. Everything I do, every distance I shoot at, there's no reason to lie about it. I have too many eyes on me, and people know me. People who actually live around me and shoot with me here at my house know me. So that's funny. That's really funny. That's still over a year now that I get called out on my distances, even verified multiple times. So, and I've lived here for over almost 7 years now. It's really funny, guys, I swear. But anyways, the reason I bring that up is because the little pests that I want to call them, all they're doing is making me a better shooter. And it's no joke. I can't thank them enough and appreciate them for making me a better shooter than I was yesterday. So, this past couple weeks here, I've been using my Air Venturi 25 caliber, and I have been doing some of the best shooting I have ever done with it. As you notice, when I did the Car Mag videos, I used my 25 caliber Avenger, and it stays the same settings, and it's going to stay the same settings. 2500 PSI, 3 turns on the hammer spring. And it did very, very well with the 34 grain H&N 250 slugs out to 100 yards, me shooting left or right-handed. So I even took it out even farther than that, past 150 yards, like 160 or so, just to see what they would do at that low velocity of around 650 feet a second. So check that out. Impact. 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 Woo! 155 plus yards, 34 grain H&N 250 slugs, 25 cal rifle, slug position with the barrel band, baffles in there, through the scope cam, NB100 with the rapid fire scope on 4 power at 155 plus yards. I cheated it by turning the scope magnification down so I get more distance between my reticle. Camera down there rolling. Woo! Let's take a walk down there. Multiple hits. Same velocity as prior, just a little bit less, about 640-ish. My chronograph quit working on me because it's so cold out right now. You guys heard the impacts through both cameras and downrange, and I was holding, as you can see, just a hair to the left. Just a hair of wind today. It snowed. Here we go. I heard one impact, I found the hold. Then I think I missed the second shot when I found it. And then the rest of them just piled in, so we'll have to review the camera because I can't see. I can just hear it. And what's cool about that orange 8-inch gong down here is that it reflects off the scope really well. It looks like an orange circle. I mean, it's like a really bursting red color. And we're way out here, guys. Like I said, it passed 155, more like 160. With the gun shooting that slow. You guys seen it here. This is how I roll. I don't know where I impacted it, I just heard it. Holy smokes. My hold was perfect. As you can tell, that is awesome. There you go. There's the 100 yards up that way where I usually shoot. We're about 155, 160 yards here. And again, the velocity did not change. The same settings. 3 turns in on the hammer spring. 2,500 PSI on the reg. Woo! That is awesome. I was really hoping for sub MOA, but with the sound of that impact, and you could tell the impact was not that great. Look at that. It didn't even scratch the paint off the plate. So these impacts are hardly any velocity at all for a 25 cal slug. As you can see, it's not even scratching the paint off the plate. That is nuts. That is awesome. Since that video was posted, I got comments saying, oh, I thought you didn't have to hold for wind. I never said I didn't have to hold for wind with slugs. I said with pellets almost out to 200 yards. And that is true. I had no reason for me to lie about it. I know it's unbelievable to some people, or I should say a lot of people, but it is what it is. So what I do, I turned around and backfired with a video using pellets past 200 yards, 25 grain King JSBs at 800 feet a second, hitting an 8-inch gong back to back. I even fell off the regulator and got 3 shots once I found the hold at 200 yards plus, and 3 of the shots that I took before I fell off the regulator was a 1-inch group. So I have nothing to lie about, guys. Check it out. Again, some of the best shooting I have ever done. Well, everybody, there we go. 200 yards, and I'm barely clipping the plate, I think, on the bottom. I have to hold way over, and got it running through the scope cam here at 200 yards. I'm right in front of my table because it's just a mud pit back here. All the snow decided to melt real quick, but I'm shooting the JSB 25 Kings at 800 feet a second at 200 yards. I'm getting back-to-back hits at 200 yards on the 8-inch gong down there. Got a camera running down there also. So let's go down there and check it out. Oh. And as you can see, I was not holding that much for wind, even though it is windy down there, because I could see the plate swaying back and forth. I was holding just on the outside left side edge. Like I said, I only hold about, it's about 200 yards for windage or so. So let's go down there and check it out. Okay, 200 yards in the mud, back-to-back plate hits with pellets, with hardly no hold. Camera down here, I can hear it. You can hear the impacts also. Excuse me. And we'll see exactly where they were impacting, because I switched the plate over and the pellets were flying directly in line with the reticle all the way out to 150. But I think I was clipping the bottom of it. I can't tell. I had the scope turned down again. I think it's 6 power. I turned it up a little bit to 6 power because of elevation turret. That's all I adjusted. I cranked on the elevation turret all the way to the max to get 200 yards, 800 feet a second here. And I could tell from the sound at 200, the impacts were not that great. It was barely dinging it. So this ought to be interesting here. Here's about the 150 mark. Okay, the camera's still running. So you can see where I was aiming here. In the scope cam, I was aiming this side, and that's where they're impacting. Now those did actually take the paint off. How about that? So these were impacting harder than the actual slugs were. Crazy. 200 yards, guys. You can see the property line. I used my bog pod this time standing because, again, my bench was sunken in mud. Woo! So everything's the same. 2,500 PSI, and I actually fell off the reg during that shot. The last shot there, you could see it drifted on me just a hair left. Got the barrel band in the pellet position, and like I said, same settings, 2,500 PSI, 3 turns in, have the elevation turret maxed out. That's it, guys, and you've seen it. It was just shooting 1 inch left from the right side edge, so about 7 inches of drift at 200 yards, so 800 feet a second, can't complain, holding right on the left side of the plate, 8-inch plate. 200 yards. Woo! So you see that there? Yeah, that was only about 7 inches of hold at wind for those pellets at 800 feet a second. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. and with the scope cam. Now, also, to add on to that, I backed off a little bit to 150 yards or so to see if I could hit some playing cards back to back. Check it out. Woo! I just hit 2 cards back to back in a few shots. I was wanting to see if I could do it, and I did it. I started out with the scope cam. The footage is so grainy, it is horrible. With the scope being at 6 power, I could barely see the edge of the card on the gong down there at 150 yards. So this was just my first attempt to do this using the 25-4 Kings, and they're going 800 feet a second again. I didn't change the settings. 2500 psi, 3 turns in on the hammer spring. Again, the scope is at 6 power, barrel band in the pellet position, baffles in the end cap there. Let's go down range and see what happened. Not that you guys didn't see it in the other camera down there at 150, but if I can't see what I'm aiming at, I'm literally blind. So I tried to do it with the scope cam, but it didn't pan out. And then as soon as I took it off, I hit the first card. That's how it works. But I did see both of them in that scope at 6 power fall off. The scope itself, without the camera on it, is crystal clear. I mean, if I could see the cards at 6 power at 150 yards, that tells you something. On edge, that is. Exactly 150 yards, I shot with the bog pot again, because it's still muddy out. And I've never done this before at 150 yards. I've always done it at 50 or 100. And the gun is shooting so good. I didn't mess with the turrets. The only thing that the turret on the elevation is maxed out from 200, that's it. So I had to find the exact hold, and it was pretty much crosshairs on the cards, which is pretty awesome at 150 yards. There you go, guys. You can see I was so close first couple tries once I found the hold. Got that card. I'm pretty sure I hit that one a couple times, as you can see. And 150 yards from the bog pod, the muzzle of the gun. Here's the camera. Yep, it's still recording. Good. Awesome. Cool. My first attempt on doing the back-to-back card hits, I didn't get it fully back-to-back. I got a couple shots in between there, as you've seen. No reason to lie about it. It is what it is. Now, I actually did it. Check this out. Again, I shoot every day, so the only person I have to outshoot is myself from yesterday. Check it out. 2 back-to-back card hits off the bench at 150 yards using the JSB King 25-4s. I turned the scope up a little bit to 12 power on max to see how much of a difference it was downrange, and the hold wasn't too bad. Still running the barrel band and the baffle set at the end of the muzzle. 2500 psi on the reg. 3 turns in, excuse me. 3 turns in on the hammer spring. That's what it's always set at. Testing out the car mag with pellets at far range as I did with the slugs. And you can see down there, let's take a walk. All right. I know I hit 2 cards. I seen them pop right off, and over 150 yards here. Actually, I knocked, yeah, I did hit them. I had 3 cards up. That's all right. I was practicing, and what I was doing was I had the crosshairs right on top of the card, believe it or not, at 150 yards. Woo! 800 feet a second. Camera's on. Camera picked it up. 150 yards from the bench. Woo! Awesome. So I know you're probably going to say, James, man, how is that possible? How are you not holding for wind? How are you directly holding on the card or whatever you're aiming at out past 150 yards until about 200 yards? Well, guys, it comes down to, if the pellet is shooting that good, it'll shoot better than a slug. A slug is prone to wind drift, or I should say spin drift, because of the way the barrel twists. And also, again, this goes back to previous videos I've done about pellets. If you shoot them at the distance before they start to become destabilizing, that's the answer right there. You have to keep the projectile, whether it's a slug or pellet, stable. Now, obviously, with 34 grain slugs versus 25 4-grain pellets, the pellets will outshoot the slugs at the same gun settings. That's what I've been saying. So my 800 feet per second pellet on impact at 200 yards does not have that much spin drift compared to a slug at 150, because I am dead hold all the way out to 150, past 150 with a pellet. And any ballistician will tell you this, that the twist rate of the barrel is already predetermined on that projectile's bearing surface. And the feet per second is only related to distance, hence feet per second. So I'm getting away with shooting projectiles at a very, very low velocity and getting very great results. Now, again, there is a big difference between slugs and pellets. So this is why muzzle velocity isn't a great reference to go off of. You can have the best and tightest spread at the muzzle, but downrange, it could be a shotgun spread group. And that's what it comes down to, guys. You have to know the velocity at which the projectile becomes unstable. And that way, you know where to aim your holdover and windage. Again, for me, for pellets, I don't tune my guns anymore. I just know which pellet to shoot and how far of a distance they'll be stable to. And again, you've seen it here with the scope cam all the way out to 200 yards. The 25 4-grain pellet was only about a 7-inch drift. I was holding on the edge of the plate, 8-inch gong at 200 yards with Google Earth photos so you guys can see. This is no joke. And, you know, it is what it is. So I hope you guys got something from this video. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks again.